I want to get to Herman Cain, the New Voice CEO. Herman, you're a businessman. You were at least in talk. Your name was being thrown out there as being on the Federal Reserve Board. What do you make of this market and the economy at this point?
First of all, the global economy is complex, and I don't recommend anyone reacting to one single metric. But what I believe that all of these metrics and all of this movement and this inversion that you've talked about, it suggests that the Federal Reserve should act sooner rather than later. They have a history of acting later than sooner. Before things get really, really bad, I believe that they should be more aggressive. That's what it says to me. And if I were on the Federal Reserve Board, this is what I would be screaming to the rest of the Federal Reserve Board governors.
Herman, this is Kristen Soltis Anderson from the Washington Examiner. You know, in addition to the issues regarding with interest rates and what the Fed should do, you also have the issue of trade looming out there, where even with today sort of saying, look, we're going to suspend some of these tariffs on China for a couple of months, there's still the trade dispute with China in place, as well as questions about whether USMCA will get passed. What is your outlook for whether this economy a year from now will, you know, we know that the president right now does pretty well in polls when people are asked about how the economy is doing. What's your outlook for the political implications of all of this looking further down the road?
I don't believe we're going to be in a recession a year from now. I really don't. Secondly, what the president is doing is negotiating with China. China has been a difficult egg for years. They have gone back on some of their agreements. The chaos we have seen in Hong Kong, it's not about airplanes. It's about a 1997 agreement with the Chinese Communist government that they made with the United Kingdom, and the Chinese Communist government went back and broke it. That's what these demonstrations are about. And so what the president is doing, he's demonstrating there's a new sheriff in town. We previously have had too many presidents and too many administrations that would just roll over whenever China wanted to do something. Here's one other point. Business people will adjust to these variations in prices, whether they are abroad or here at home. That's what they do. They will adjust. So I'm not that concerned that this is going to spiral out of control.
Politically, Herman, you ran for the Republican presidential nomination. The president is in a tough spot, and I want to bring Kristen back in here because again, the American view of China has worsened. That 60% of Americans hold a negative view on China at this point. Unfavorable opinions hitting a 14-year high. So they seem to be, based on this Pew Research poll, with the president, but if the economy weakens going into a presidential year, that leaves him in a vice.
I think it will leave him in a vice, but here's the thing. I believe that the American people, reflecting that statistic you gave about being more unfavorable toward China, they are figuring out China's modus operandi. They will make one promise, but then they'll do something different. And what this president is doing, he's trying to leverage trade talks in order to be able to get something maybe 3, 6, or 12 months from now. And so I believe that the American people see what's going on, and they are on his side. Many of them know that he has to play hardball with China if we're ever going to get anything. And in the past, we've never gotten anything substantively.
But Herman, I want to bring Kristen in here. About the president he is a master at communication, like it or not, and the president has been since last year really setting up Jay Powell, the Fed chief, as the fall guy. Does it work? Well,
I mean, I think that if you take a look, the president's numbers are really buoyed by his overall presidential job approval numbers are buoyed by this strong economy. If we get to a year from now and the economy's not doing as well, what impact does that have on his reelect? And by being able to say, look, people always give presidents more credit and more blame for the state of the economy than is probably warranted. But by being able to say, look, it's the fault of China, it's the fault of Congress, and it's the fault of the Fed that the economy is not doing what it should be. Don't look at me, look at them. He's trying to set up a situation where he can divert blame for some bad economic news, if that's what we're looking at 12, 18 months from now.
Herman, I want to get continue.
I wanted to add one other point to what she just said.
Yes, sir.
Politically, the president has been beat up, challenged, lied on in every which way you can from a political standpoint. But here's why I believe that the American people are hanging in there with this president. He just continues to do his job, and people see that. I believe that that's one of his greatest assets. He is not deterred or slowed down by all of this rhetoric and all of these attacks that are coming from the presidential Democratic wannabes, as well as many of the elected Democrats.
I want to ask you this before you go, Herman. So the NFL and social justice. The NFL is bringing on Jay-Z to help smooth over issues regarding social justice and expand the NFL's entertainment offerings, like making the halftime show better. I would suggest never, ever have Maroon 5 back. This coming after the anthem protest from Colin Kaepernick. Where does this go from here, you think?
I think that you have two different cultures. You have the culture of the NFL organizations and the players that may represent some tensions that most of us don't even know about. Then you have the general public. We don't see all of this stuff that maybe they are feeling and seeing, other than seeing people who want to kneel during the national anthem. So Jay-Z's impact, I can't predict whether it's going to be positive or negative. And for the NFL organizations and the NFL to say that we want to do a better job at halftime shows and entertainment and all of that, so be it. You know, it doesn't impact the general public. The general public still wants to keep politics out of sports. That's how we relax. They want to just keep it out. So his impact, I really can't predict what it's really going to do long term.
Herman, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dagan.